4 words can change an entire life. I found that out on a freezing December night when fate put 3 desperate people in my path. My name is David Thompson. At 42, I'd built a simple life in Whitefish, Montana. A retired firefighter, a widower for 3 years, father to 7-year-old Michael. Our routine was predictable. Breakfast at 7, school for him, chores for me, dinner at 6, a bedtime story. Predictability gave me security after losing Rebecca in a car accident. Some nights, after Michael was asleep, I'd sit on the porch, watching the snow-covered mountains, remembering how she used to say Montana had the most beautiful sky in the world. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to access more stories like this. That Tuesday, a snowstorm had started early. Michael was at his grandma's house, so I decided to eat at Murphy's Diner, the only restaurant that stayed open late. The wind cut like a razor when I parked in front of the place. That's when I saw them. 3 figures huddled against the restaurant wall, trying to shield themselves from the cold. A woman and 2 small girls, all trembling under thin blankets. The woman had brown hair pulled back in a ponytail, a thin but determined face. The twins looked about 6, their faces rosy from the cold, their eyes wide and scared. They pressed against their mother, who held them both in a protective grip. I went into the restaurant, but couldn't focus on the menu. Through the window, I saw the 3 of them still out there. The thermometer read 15 below zero. I called the waitress over. "Those people out there, are they waiting for someone?" "Oh, the veteran and her daughters? They've been there since yesterday. They bought a coffee and stayed. We can't let them sleep here, but we also can't make them leave in this storm." Veteran. The word echoed in my mind. Someone who served their country was out there, freezing with her daughters. I paid my bill without even ordering anything and walked out. "Excuse me," I said, approaching slowly so as not to startle them. "Are you okay?" The woman looked at me suspiciously, instinctively pulling the girls closer. "We're waiting for the storm to pass. It's not stopping anytime soon. The radio said it'll snow all night." I knelt to be at the children's level. "Hi, girls. It's really cold out here, isn't it?" One of them nodded, teeth chattering. The other looked at her mom, as if asking for permission to speak. "I'm David Thompson. I live here in town. Do you have somewhere to stay tonight?" The veteran hesitated. I saw pride and desperation fighting on her face. "We're between places right now." "Mommy, I'm so cold," one of the twins whispered. Something broke inside my chest. They were about the age Rebecca and I dreamed of having a daughter. I thought of Michael, safe and warm at my mother-in-law's house, and I couldn't imagine these kids spending the night on the street. I looked directly at the woman. "Are you military?" I was. "Captain Sarah Mitchell, Army. These are Emma and Sophie." "Captain Mitchell, I have a house with empty rooms and working heat. My son's at his grandma's today. You can't stay out here." "I don't accept charity," she had replied, but her voice trembled. "It's not charity. It's what people do for each other." I stood up and held out my hand. "You're coming with me." Sarah was silent for a long moment, looking at her daughters, then at me. Emma started coughing, a dry sound that cut through the cold air. Sophie huddled closer to her mother. "All right," she finally said, "but just for tonight." I helped them up and carried their few belongings to my pickup truck. In the car, the girls snuggled in the back seat while Sarah sat tense in the front. "How long have you been traveling?" I asked, turning the heater up high. 3 weeks. We were heading to Seattle, but the car broke down in Kalispell. We spent everything on repairs, but it broke down again 30 miles later. We arrived home, and I opened the door. The warmth enveloped them immediately. I saw Sarah's shoulders relax for the first time. "Hot bath first," I said. "I left clean towels in the bathroom. I'll warm up some soup for you." While I prepared the food, I heard laughter coming from the bathroom. The girls were playing in the warm water, and for the first time, Sarah truly smiled. That first week, we settled into a peculiar routine. Emma and Sophie woke early, scurried to the kitchen in borrowed pajamas, and helped me make breakfast. Sarah was still cautious, always asking if she could use something, if she was bothering me. I kept repeating they weren't guests, but she still acted like it. Michael came back from his grandma's on Saturday, and to my surprise, he took to the girls immediately. He taught them how to play video games while Sarah and I talked in the kitchen. She told me about her divorce, about how her ex-husband had disappeared after she came back from Afghanistan. I told her about Rebecca, about how I still dreamed of her some nights. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, she said, noticing my hesitation. It's good to talk. Rebecca always said I kept too much inside. I touched my chest. She died coming home from work. Heavy rain, slippery road, 1 second of distraction, and our lives changed forever. Sarah nodded, understanding the pain without needing words. Weeks passed and something shifted between us. Sarah started cooking elaborate dinners, saying it was her way of contributing. I mended the girls' clothes, bought school supplies. We became a strange but functional family. Emma always wanted to hear stories from when I was a firefighter. Sophie preferred helping me in the garden, even with snow on the ground. Daddy David, Emma called me one afternoon. Can you teach us how to make those cookies Aunt Rebecca used to make? I paused. Michael had told them about Rebecca, and somehow they had started calling me Daddy. Sarah blushed. Girls, you can't. It's okay, I said. Yes, Emma, I can teach you. That night, after the kids were asleep, Sarah and I sat in the living room, each on our end of the couch, watching TV in silence. They shouldn't call you that, she finally said. Why not? They need a dad. I need to be a dad to someone else besides Michael. David, you don't understand. I can't stay here forever. I have to find work, a place of our own. You don't want to stay? Sarah looked at me for a long moment. I do. That's what scares me. Spring came early that year. In April, the snow melted, and Sarah started going for long walks. She said she needed to think, but I knew she was struggling with something bigger. One morning, I found her crying on the porch. What happened? Nightmares. They're back. I sat beside her. About the war, about everything. The war, the divorce, being homeless, about failing as a mom. She wiped her eyes. David, I don't know how to be happy. It's been so long since I was just surviving. Then learn. We can learn together. She leaned her head on my shoulder, and I felt something definitive changing between us. In May, a severe storm hit town. 50-mile-per-hour winds knocked down trees and cut off power. I was checking for damage around the house when I heard Sarah screaming from outside. David, I need your help. I rushed out and saw her pointing to Mrs. Lambert's house, our 80-year-old neighbor. A tree had fallen on the roof. She's inside, Sarah yelled. I heard her calling for help. Without thinking, Sarah was already running towards the house. I followed, but she got there first. The front door was blocked by branches, so she went to the back and broke a window with a rock. Mrs. Lambert, where are you? Here, in the bedroom. Sarah disappeared through the window. Minutes later, she emerged, helping the elderly woman out. Mrs. Lambert had a cut on her forehead and was scared but conscious. My angel, she said to Sarah, you saved my life. We brought Mrs. Lambert into our house, where Sarah cleaned her wound and made her tea to calm her down. While we waited for the ambulance, I watched Sarah take care of our neighbor with a professional gentleness I hadn't seen before. Were you a medic in the Army? I asked. Combat medic. Taking care of wounded people was my specialty. After Mrs. Lambert went to the hospital, Sarah became strangely quiet. The kids were playing in the bedroom, and we were both cleaning up the broken glass in the kitchen. I had forgotten, she said suddenly. Forgotten what? How good it feels to help someone. How good it feels to be useful. She stopped sweeping and looked at me. David, in the Army I saved lives. I was good at it. When I came back I felt useless, like I was good for nothing but fighting. You saved Mrs. Lambert today. I did, and I felt alive. For the first time in years, I felt alive. That night, after dinner, Sarah found me on the porch. I have an idea, she said, and I want to know what you think. Spill it. How many veterans live in this area? A lot. Why? And how many do you think are going through what I went through? Without direction, without purpose, some even homeless. I started to understand what she was getting at. I could help them. I could create a support group, teach first aid, help with practical matters, use my experience for something good. That would be amazing, Sarah. But it would need to be here, in Whitefish. I would need to stay. She was giving me an opening, waiting for me to say something definitive about our future. I want you to stay, I said. Not just want, I need you to. Michael needs you. Emma and Sophie need you. We've become a family, Sarah. Even with all my baggage, with the nightmares, with the fear, especially because of it, because you're fighting to be better, because you didn't give up. She moved closer, and for the first time she kissed me. It was soft, tentative, but full of promise. "I love you, David," she whispered. "I love you too." The following week, Sarah started researching how to create an official support group. She talked to the city hall, to the local hospital, to other veterans she knew in town. The idea quickly gained momentum. "There's a Vietnam veteran who lives alone near the mountain," she told me one night, "and a woman who served in Iraq and is having trouble finding work. They want to participate. And you?" "I'm excited. For the first time since I came back from Afghanistan, I have a real purpose." The group's first meeting happened in our living room. 5 veterans showed up, shy but hopeful. Sarah made coffee and cookies, and I stayed in the kitchen with the kids, giving them privacy. Later, when everyone had left, Sarah was radiant. "How was it?" "Amazing. Every one of them has a story, David, and they all need help in different ways. Some have alcohol problems, others depression, others just don't know how to connect with civilians. And you can help them?" "I can try. And even if I don't have all the answers, at least they'll know they're not alone." By June, the group had grown to 12 people. Sarah got a room at the municipal library for the weekly meetings. The city council offered a small budget for materials. The local newspaper ran an article about her work. "Retired Captain Sarah Mitchell is changing lives in our community," I read aloud during breakfast. "You're famous, Mommy," Emma said. "Mommy was always famous," Sophie added. "She's the bravest woman in the world." Sarah smiled, but I saw tears in her eyes. Later, when we were alone, she confessed her fears. "What if I'm not good at this long term? What if I disappoint these people?" "You won't disappoint anyone. You have a gift, Sarah. You genuinely care about people." "How are you so sure?" "Because you saved me too. I was just existing before you arrived. Now I'm truly living." August arrived with long days and starry nights. Sarah had transformed the veteran support group into something bigger than any of us imagined. 15 veterans participated regularly, and she began offering individual sessions for those who needed special attention. The city council formalized the program and offered a small but sufficient salary for Sarah to support herself. One night, after putting the kids to bed, we both sat on the porch, watching the stars over the mountains. Sarah was quiet, thoughtful. "What are you thinking about?" I asked. "How everything changed. A year ago, I was lost, hopeless. Today I have a job I love, happy kids, and—" She looked at me. "And you. And I have you," I replied, taking her hand. "Sarah, there's something I've wanted to ask you for weeks." She turned to face me completely. "We've built a beautiful family here. Michael loves you like you're his mom. Emma and Sophie see me as their dad. We love each other." I took a deep breath. "Will you marry me?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "David, you don't have to answer now. I just want you to know there's nothing I want more than to make official what we already are." "Yes," she said immediately. "Yes, I want to marry you." I kissed her right there, under the starry Montana sky, knowing that Rebecca would be happy for me. Sarah had taught me that loving again didn't mean loving less who we lost. We decided to have a simple ceremony in September, in our backyard. Sarah wanted something small, just family and close friends. We invited my mother-in-law, some firefighter colleagues, members of the veteran group, and some dear neighbors. Mrs. Lambert, already recovered from the accident, insisted on making the cake. "It's the least I can do for the woman who saved my life," she said. The children were thrilled. Emma and Sophie would be bridesmaids, and Michael would be the ring bearer. They spent weeks rehearsing how to walk slowly down the makeshift aisle in the garden. On the morning of the wedding, I woke early and found Sarah in the kitchen, already dressed in a simple, elegant dress she had bought at the only clothing store in town. "Nervous?" I asked. "A little. It's strange, right? At 35, getting married for the second time, with 3 kids running around the house." "It's perfect," I corrected. "It's exactly what it should be." The ceremony was intimate and emotional. The pastor spoke about second chances and how God puts the right people in our lives at the right time. When it came time for the vows, Sarah surprised me. "David," she began, "a year ago I was lost. I had lost faith in humanity, in goodness, in the possibility of happiness. You found me on a cold night and said 4 words that changed everything. You're coming with me. But what you really said was, you're not alone. You are valued. You deserve love. Today, before our family and friends, I say to you, I'm staying with you forever. My vow was simpler. Sarah, you brought light back into our home. Michael gained a mother, I gained a partner, and Emma and Sophie gained a home. I promise to care for you, support your dreams, and love our family with everything I have, every day of my life. When the pastor declared us husband and wife, the children exploded in applause. Emma shouted, "Now we're a real family," and Sophie added, "Forever and ever." The party was in the garden, with lights strung in the trees and soft music. Sarah danced with me while the children ran around, laughing. Mrs. Lambert cried throughout the event, saying it was the most beautiful wedding she had ever seen. "You deserve all the happiness in the world," she told us. One of the veterans from the group, a man named Frank who had fought in Vietnam, approached Sarah during the party. "Captain," he said, "I want to thank you. Before joining your group, I hadn't talked to anyone in months. Today I'm here, celebrating with you, feeling part of something." Frank, you were always part of something. You just needed to remember that. That night, after everyone had left and the children finally slept, Sarah and I sat in the living room, still in our wedding clothes, exhausted but happy. "How do you feel, Mrs. Thompson?" I asked. "Complete," she replied. "For the first time in my life, I feel complete." The following years passed in a happy blur. Sarah expanded the veteran program, securing state funding to offer professional training and housing assistance. The group grew to over 50 participants from across the region. Emma and Sophie excelled in school, always proudly talking about how their mom helped other soldiers. Michael became a protective older brother, always looking out for the girls as if they were his biological sisters. In 2019, Sarah received a state award for her work with veterans. The ceremony was at the Capitol, and our entire family went together. When she went up on stage to receive the recognition, I couldn't hold back tears of pride. "This award isn't just mine," she said in her speech. "It belongs to all the brave veterans who had the strength to ask for help. It belongs to my family, who supported me when I didn't even know I needed support. And it belongs to a man who saw 3 people freezing on a winter night and decided that wasn't acceptable. Sometimes, changing a life is as simple as saying, 'You're coming with me.'" The entire audience rose in applause. Today, as I write this story, it's 5 years since that night at the diner. Sarah has transformed our local program into a statewide organization that has already helped hundreds of veterans. Emma and Sophie, now 11, talk about pursuing military careers like their mom. Michael, at 12, wants to be a firefighter like me. Sometimes on winter nights when the snow covers our property in Whitefish, Sarah and I sit on the same porch where we fell in love, watching the mountains. She still has occasional nightmares, and I still miss Rebecca at times. But we've learned that healing doesn't mean forgetting the past. It means building something beautiful despite it. "Do you regret anything?" she asked me on one of those nights. "Regret what?" "Complicating your simple life with 3 problematic women," I laughed. "Sarah, you didn't complicate my life. You saved my life." "How so?" "I was just existing before you came along. Going to work, taking care of Michael, keeping the house, but I wasn't truly living. You reminded me what it means to have purpose, to have love, to have a complete family. Even with all our baggage, especially because of the baggage, because it means you fought for something, that you survived, that you're strong." Sarah leaned her head on my shoulder, just like she did that first spring together. "You know what else impresses me most about this whole story?" she said. "What?" "How a simple decision can change so many lives. You decided not to ignore 3 people freezing. That decision changed our lives, changed Michael's life, and now it's changed the lives of hundreds of veterans who've gone through our program." "It's like throwing a pebble in a lake," I reflected. "The ripples spread far beyond what we can see." Exactly. She was right. What started as a simple act of compassion on a cold night became something much bigger. Sarah not only found her purpose again, she created a legacy that will continue to help people long after us. And all because, on a December night, I chose not to drive past 3 people who needed help. I chose to say 4 words that changed everything. "You're coming with me." Today our home is filled with laughter, plans for the future, and unconditional love. Sarah transformed her pain into purpose. I rediscovered the joy of being a father and husband, and our children grew up in a family that values kindness and service to others. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to access more stories like this. This is our story. A story that proves that sometimes all someone needs is a chance, a little human warmth, and the courage to say, "You're not alone. You're coming with me."